Joining us now is another member of this year's Nebraska FFA State Officer Team. Jaylea Pope is joining us. You're serving this year as State Vice President, hailing originally from the Shelton FFA Chapter. Take us back in time to your early days in agriculture and how you got involved in this organization.
So my family's been raising cattle for the past 30 years after my dad graduated college, and my FFA experience has quite been recently because our chapter started my 7th grade year. So my class was actually the first class that had ag education at our school for all 6 years of high school, and so it was really cool to kind of be that first class to see it all the way through and really take advantage of all the experiences.
How has that experience elevated your experience as a state officer? Have you been able to relate to some of those newer chapters because of it?
Of course. I think that it really shaped my experience because coming in, we actually got to come my 6th grade year when we found out we were hiring a teacher for a day just to come see state convention and really get excited for it. And then I got to come back my 7th, 8th, and 9th grade years in person, and then 10th, 11th online, and then senior year again last year. So I've actually been very lucky to be at quite a few in-person state conventions. So it's really shaped my experience, and then also to be able to see state officers a lot and especially see state conventions, I think really inspired me to then want to take those next steps as a leadership position.
What are some of the key reasons why a school, if they don't currently have ag education or FFA in it, why should they?
I think it's really important because, of course, agriculture is the backbone of our society because it provides a lot of different things to people, whether they realize it or not. And so having that basic understanding of where your food comes from or even some of your clothing items, I think helps people connect to that and really appreciate some of the things they have in their lives more. And so ag education is one thing that we can implement in schools into children's young lives or even up into high school of something that can really develop them as they head out into the future.
Well, coming up here in session 2, you're going to be on this stage delivering your final remarks, the retiring address. What is yours titled, and what's your message you're planning to share?
So my opportunity to give my RA is titled Intentional Opportunities. And so it's basically about wanting to take opportunities, but then also realizing to not overload yourself with every opportunity, because then we start getting burned out, we have too much on our plates. And so it's really about having those opportunities that are going to set us up for success and what we know is important, because I realized partway through my high school career that I was doing way too much and that I needed to cut back so that I could focus in on things like FFA. And so that was one way that I used those things during high school to try and build my future successes.
It's an interesting message because I feel like as students in high school and in college, it's always about say yes to new opportunities. How do you balance those two? In your case here is what you're going to share.
Exactly. So that's one thing that I really went through, because at a small school especially, it's easy to become a yes person because it takes so many people to make those activities possible. And so during chapter visits, I even talked with a few students. They're like, yeah, like I'm in this, and this. And so they have a long list of things they're involved in. But one thing that I focused on is like, I want to go to a career in agriculture and focus on some of those things. And so for me, I didn't see high school sports as benefiting me as much heading into my future. So I was able to then cut those out because I knew that I didn't see that in my future and that I wanted to put more time into the things that would really help me get there. And so it's kind of looking towards your future. And so I kind of talk about maybe you have a certain college you want to go to or even a potential career path. And so thinking about some of those things and where you want to end up can kind of help you narrow in on what you want to continue.
It's a neat message. Looking forward to hearing that here just in a few minutes on the convention broadcast. What's your advice you've been sharing with members? Obviously that, but what other kind of advice have you shared with them over the past year?
Especially younger members, take those opportunities in FFA and try a variety of different things, because in my experience I did so many contests, and I usually come from the beef side of the industry, but I decided to try the dairy contest because why not? Why not explore something else? And so trying something outside your comfort zone along with the things that you know that you like is really beneficial, because you never know what you're going to want to do in the future, especially starting out in your early years of high school. So getting a sample for everything, I think, is something that students can really look forward to, especially in FFA with all the opportunities that we have available.
All right, well, share with us, you're studying at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln right now. What's your education path and what would you like to do someday?
So I have recently changed my major to Ag Communications and Animal Science, and so I'm looking forward to implementing both of those, and I'm not sure exactly what my professional career will be, but I do want to keep raising cattle on the side, so it'll be raising cattle and something else in addition to that.
You can take one of these chairs someday and ask state officers questions. That is Jaylea Pope. She's originally a member of the Shelton FFA Chapter, this year serving as Nebraska FFA State Vice President.